Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be learning more about verbs and the past tense. I want to start by reviewing what we learned in my last video about verbs. If you missed it, I'll leave a link in the description box below. We learned that there are words called verbs and that verbs are action words. They describe things that you can do. Some examples are jump, walk, and talk. We also learned that there's something called tense, and every verb has a tense. The tense tells you when the action happened, and the past tense tells you that an action has happened in the past. It's already happened, it's done with. The way that you put a regular verb into the past tense is by adding the letters ed to the end, just like this. Now these verbs say jumped, walked, talked. So that's what we learned last time. Today I want to learn about two special kinds of verbs that will still follow rules. They're still regular in that sense, but they're not going to follow this rule. You're not going to add ed to the end. The first type of verb that I want to talk about is verbs that end with e. All of these verbs end in the letter e, and I'm going to read them aloud to you. If you prefer to read the verbs to yourself, just pause the video and read through this list and then press play when you're ready to hear me read them. The verbs are bake, hope, joke, rake, tape, wave, close, bike, change, sneeze, skate, scare, hike. Instead of adding ed to the end of these verbs, we are just going to add the letter D. We don't have to add an E because all of these words already end in the letter E. So for example, if we have the word bake, we don't want to add ed to the end. We just want to add the letter D. If we add the letter D, this word now says baked. So let's go ahead and add the letter D to all of these verbs. Now these verbs are baked, hoped, joked, raked, taped, waved, closed, biked, changed, sneezed, skated, scared, hiked. So that was the easy rule. Now we're going to move on to a rule that is a little more complicated. It's not too complicated. There's a lot of vocabulary and there's a lot of explanation, but the actual process of changing these next words into past tense verbs is not actually that difficult. Let's go ahead and get into it. What I want to talk about are verbs that have a short vowel sound. And in order to understand what that is, you have to first understand what are vowels. Vowels are the letters A, E, I, O, and U. The next thing you're going to want to know is what is a short vowel. I said I wanted to talk about verbs that have a short vowel sound. The short vowel sounds are a, I, a. So for example, if I had the verb tap, this has a short vowel sound, ah, ah. Previously, we had the verb tape right here. That's a long A sound, tape, where the A is making the sound of A. But here, the A is making the sound ah, ah, ah. And so here's what we want to do with this short vowel verb. Before we can add an ED to the end, we need to double the final consonant. And I had let you know the vowels are A, E, I, O, U. Well, your consonants are every other letter in the alphabet. So B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Okay? So these are your consonants, and if we go back to the word tap, we have the letter P on the end. That's the consonant. And so what we want to do is we want to double that final consonant. That means instead of 1, we want 2. And now we can go ahead and add the ED ending, and this word now says tapped. Let's try a couple more examples, and then I'll give you an opportunity to try it on your own. This next word is beg. Beg. And so we do have the sound of a short E, eh. And so before I can put this verb into the past tense, I have to double the final consonant, which is G. And now I can add that ED ending, and this word is begged. Let's do just one more together. We're going to use the verb pin. And we have that short I, which means we need to take the final consonant N and double it before we can add the ED ending. Now the word says pinned. I'm going to write some other short vowel verbs, and then I'll give you an opportunity to try putting them into the past tense before I show you the answers myself. These verbs are pronounced sip, hop, nap, rip, zip, nod, tug. So what I'd like you to do is grab a piece of paper, grab a pencil, copy these verbs, and then I want you to put each verb into the past tense. You will need to double all of these final consonants before you add ED to the end. You can pause the video and take care of that now, then press play when you're ready to check your answers. Hopefully you had a chance to practice this on your own. I'm going to go through and double the final consonant on each word and then add ED to the end. So this verb changes from sip to sipped. This verb will change from hop to hopped. This verb will change from nap to napped. Rip changes to ripped. Zip changes to zipped. Nod changes to nodded. And tug changes to tugged. So those are a couple of different kinds of verbs, and you're still going to add ed to the end, but if the verb already ends in an e, you don't need to add ed. You can just add a d to the end. And if you have a short vowel sound in your verb, you're going to want to double the final consonant before you add the ed ending. That's all that I have for you today, but I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.